Hello and welcome to Beehive Tuition. We're specialists in catch-up tuition in both maths and English, and we demystify difficult topics within those two subjects. Today we are going to go over part 2 of adding and subtracting negative numbers. So if you haven't watched part 1, please do make sure you check the description bar below. It should have a link in there. So go over and watch part 1 before you jump into part 2. So if you've watched part 1, let's move on to the next one. Part 2 is when we have two signs in the middle, and I'll give you an example. So if we have here 4 plus minus 7, if we have something that looks a little bit like that. So we've already worked out how to do signs like this when there's only one sign in the middle. But what happens when we have two signs in the middle? Now, in part 1, we went through this part over here, what this all means. When we have a negative and a positive number, we minus. When we have a positive and a negative number, we minus. When we have signs that are the same, we add. So when the signs are different, we find the difference. When the signs are the same, we add. Okay, that still rings true here when we have two signs in the middle, but we just have one extra step to do before we go to what we know. So let's go through this one really quickly. So when the signs are different, we find the difference. So we have a negative and a positive. We find the difference between those two numbers. That is 1. Okay. And then we look at the bigger digit, which is 4, and we put the sign of that bigger digit to our answer. And so that gives us -1. Super easy. Now, if we look at the above one, I'm just going to write it at the bottom. We have 4 plus minus 7. We just have one step to do first. We have here positive, a plus, and a minus. Right, so positive and negative, those are two separate signs, and we have to therefore change that sign into one sign. We have two signs and we change it into one sign. So instead of a positive and a negative, when the signs are different, it is a negative sign that we then replace it with. So we then change these two and we put it to one sign. It becomes -7. So now we have 4 minus 7. Now, as a quick note, when there is no sign in front of a number, it means it's positive. So here there's no sign. That means there is a secret little plus in front of it. Okay, so this is a positive one. So we have +4, -7, and we can do what we did here. When the signs are different, we find the difference. So we would then find the difference between 4 and 7. Remember, we can just do 7 take away 4, it doesn't matter, and that gives us 3. And then we take the sign in front of the bigger digit, which in this case is a negative number, and that would be -3. So our answer to this question here is -3. Let's go through another one together. We have 3 take away -4. Okay, step 1 is to make these two signs into one, because we don't like that. We don't like the two signs, so we're going to make it one. So negative and negative, that's the same. So we make that a plus. So we would write 3 plus 4. So super easy, because we also know that when there's no sign here, it means it's a positive. So we have two positives, positive and positive. It's just normal addition. We would just add these together. So what's 4 plus 3, or 3 plus 4? It is 7. Okay, and of course the positive number is the bigger number here, so it's still a +7. We don't have to write positive. When it's a positive number, we don't actually have to write plus, but I'm just putting it there for learning purposes. Okay, so let's do another one. We have a -5 minus -1. Okay, so here the first step is to change this middle one into one sign. So we know a negative and a negative makes a positive. Okay, so we would write out -5 plus 1. Now this all makes sense to us, doesn't it? Because we know that we can do what we were doing in part 1, where we have a negative number and a positive number, we add them together. Where we have a negative number and a positive number, we actually take away, because the signs are different. Okay, so we would then take away 5, take away 1 is, and then After that, we would then look at the bigger digit, which is a negative number, and we would therefore take away or put a negative sign there. Okay, let us do one more together. Let's do a bigger number. Minus 12 plus negative 3. Okay, so our first thing is looking at the signs in the middle and changing that into 1. Okay, so a positive and a negative are two different signs. So what does it become? I hope you said it out loud. It would become a negative, okay, because they're different. So we find the difference. So it's minus in the middle. And now it makes sense because we have our next step, which is a negative and a negative. And when the signs are the same, what do? I hope you said it out loud again, we add, okay? So we would say 12 plus 3 is 15. Okay, and of course 12 is the bigger digit, so we take the sign in front of the bigger digit, and that is minus 15. Okay, I hope you found that useful. Please do comment below and let me know how you found it, and if you have any questions, please do leave it in the comment section below. Please do make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any other videos that we will be releasing very, very soon. Until next time, see you again soon. Bye.